It's showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
A fine, fine Saturday matinee to you, Andy.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah,
Looking good, feeling good.
all right? Looking good, feeling good. You seen anything worth talking about?
It's been a slower week for movies for me because I've been really just trying to dig my heels in to get through the Clone Wars. I'm watching that animated series because I hear it ends well. And then I hear that Rebels is even better. And that's the one I'm really looking forward to getting to. But I have to get through Clone Wars first. And I've decided maybe, crazy, I don't know. But I'm trying to push through as many of the Marvel shows as I can. So I started Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And so I'm slowly working my way through season 1.
I'd forgotten you hadn't done any of that.
I hadn't.
Oh, good for you. That's good. I actually quite enjoy Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And the most recent season is bananas. It's a different show altogether.
Well, here they go to the future, like space future. Is that the most recent season, or is that a previous season?
Yeah. And let's just say it takes some adjustment coming off of what the rest of the show is. But I still quite enjoyed it. I'm one of those people. I don't know what, I haven't been watching the ratings this season, but I quite enjoyed it. The one I would say you should skip completely because I think it's going to be written out of history is Inhumans. I honestly think they're going to drop that one. Like they're going to just stop talking about it. So that one you don't have to watch when it comes out. But I will say we started Cloak and Dagger.
Oh, nice. Are you liking that one?
Okay, let me just say, Cloak and Dagger, it was Cloak and Dagger as a duo in the comics. I have not read all of the comics, but I did read the initial run. There was a 4-issue series. And I found Cloak and Dagger to be one of my very favorite sort of Spider-Man guest appearances. And I've always loved Cloak and Dagger. For some reason, this pair has been absolutely one of my very favorites, and I've been so frustrated that it's always relegated to kind of a side character and or a side duo. And I really love that they have their own show, and it's still finding its legs a little bit. It's an origin story for sure, and it's a retconned origin story, and so we'll see. But the kids are great. It is much more mature than I expected. Things like there's a sequence where they're both runaways, or well, she's a runaway and he's dealing with things different kinds of things, but still living with his family, and she is almost raped in a dark alley, and lucky thing she has some powers she doesn't understand, but I did not expect an alleyway rape scene to come up on TV as I'm watching this with my kids. And
right, ABC Family.
Yes, yeah. Well, they get out from under that, right? Because they rebranded as Freeform. So we could do anything now. Anyway, but it's great. And the gal who plays Dagger is Olivia Holt, and she was on when my kids were younger. They loved Kickin' It, and she was one of the teen karate stars on this show Kickin' It, this Disney show Kickin' It, and so they're I think a little bit surprised to see how far she's come. About to be, yeah. It's I think you should watch it, and I'll let you know how it goes. I mean, they've only just released episode 4, I think, last night, so we're still getting into it. They're still kind of exploring their powers, but I'm probably forgiving an awful lot because I love this duo so much, and I'm so excited to see when they come into their own. Super fun.
Very cool. Looking at what Marvel's been doing on TV, I guess I knew they've been doing a lot of TV shows, but I had no idea just how expansive it was.
Yeah.
Aside from the ones that are off the air, including Inhumans, there was The Defenders, which as of now is not listed as coming back. It may. And Agent Carter.
Yeah, which was great.
Yeah, which I heard was great. It didn't find its audience, but they have 10 shows going on air right now.
Yeah.
10. Now, 2 of those technically are the X-Men universe, not the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But I'm curious to see how all of that
Legend and
Legion,
Legion
and the Gifted.
Yeah, the Gifted, right? Which are also Legion is stunning.
Well, I'm curious, what's going to happen with all of these as Fox and Disney get into bed together now.
Oh man!
Oh, and New Warriors that's also has been picked up, so there will be an 11th.
Oh, that's fantastic! I love it. I think it's great, and it is giving. For me, it's given me what I've been sort of asking for a long time, which is essentially genre films, right? I mean, where we get more sort of vibrance and breadth in the tone that we're getting from our beloved superheroes. They're not all just high dynamic range heroes, and I really like it. I when I start feeling bleak about the sort of generic narrative that comes from some of the movies, I just turn on the TV. I'm pretty happy.
Well, I'm enjoying Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. so far. I'm only about 6 episodes in, but it's obviously not at the level of the films, but still, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I really enjoy the characters so far.
It gets better. They go into some just crazy sort of Latin soap opera territory, and I actually have a lot of fun with that too. And Agent Carter too was bubblegum fun. I mean, going back in time and seeing the beginnings of S.H.I.E.L.D. too was great. So anyway,
cool.
What do you think? Shall we do trailers?
Let's do it.
Do we have any rules at play?
I feel like we should start an Ethan Hawke rule.
Noted. All right, you first.
Well, Ethan Hawke, as we have discussed on this show before, is everywhere. He is one of the busiest people in Hollywood, and it's just crazy how much this guy is always working. And generally, we like that. We enjoy what he is bringing to the table because he's a great actor, a great performer, and makes a lot of interesting choices. However, he's making a shift now. We know that he's also written stuff before and has been nominated for Oscars before through his time working on the Before trilogy. And but what's nice about this film, Blaze, that's coming out this year, is that he's actually writer, producer, director, and it's based on a book, Living in the Woods in a Tree, Remembering Blaze, by Sybil Rosen. And it's kind of a life of a country musician. Ethan Hawke has always been kind of somebody who seems kind of like a modern beatnik sort of guy, even though he looks more like a movie star, but he feels very much like somebody who's always sitting around barefoot reading poetry. He just feels like that sort of guy. And this trailer for this film, Blaze, just kind of seemed to fit what I was expecting from Ethan Hawke, right? It's this biopic of this kind of small country musician in Texas, Blaze Foley, and it just feels like a biopic as you watch it. But it was a very popular film at Sundance this past year. Ben Dickey plays the title character. Alia Shawkat plays his lover. Sam Rockwell's in the film. Steve Zahn is in it. Chris Christopherson and actually Richard Linklater is in it. It's a really I don't know if I see a ton about it, but I really enjoy watching these characters in this film. It just feels like a journey that this small country singer is taking as he starts finding some popularity. I don't know. I just love the look, and it just something about the fact that Hawke is behind all of this gets me pretty excited about it. What do you think?
Well, I'm excited about it. I had never heard of Blaze Foley at all, and was excited when I first saw this trailer to pull out some music. I'm not a huge country fan, but sometimes I am prone to to pull out the country, and this is my kind of country. This guy's music, and I, they didn't. It feels like they go through his rise and fall, and then hopefully rise again. But man, he was killed early, shot in the chest in 1989 by the friend of one of his, or by the son of one of his friends, and it seems super dark. And I wonder just how, I wonder just how far they go with this particular story. It seems pretty grim. So, but I was very excited about it. I'm excited to see, the people who are in it. Hawke is I think she's fantastic, and I think I'm excited to see her on the big screen. Hopefully, I'll get to see it on the big screen. So there you go. I think it's a great pick.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. And I should say I'm not a huge country fan either, but the right story, the right music, I'm totally into it.
Yeah, I think I'm actually more into country biopics than I am country music, right?
Right. That's me too. You
Yeah.
know, I totally agree. So, yeah, I'm really curious about this one. It looks like it's going to. It just is finishing its festival circuit. It looks like right now it's scheduled to hit a limited August 17th this year. So check it out, Blaze.
Outstanding. All right. Mine is, I don't know, maybe it's predictable. I am puzzled over my trailer, and that is why I've picked it today. It's the story of a workaholic woman who has left at the altar and takes her honeymoon trip with her overachieving father, who left her mother, because he believed his family was holding back his career. It is called Like Father, and it stars Kristen Bell, Kelsey Grammer, and I guess Seth Rogen. I love Kelsey Grammer, and I think he's every time I see him or hear that fantastic voice, I'm sort of entranced, because I think he's he's got that sort of father figure vibe, and I think he's really capitalizing on it in this trailer. Kristen Bell, I think, is also an incredible talent, and she's an incredible comedian, and I wonder how this movie walks the line between comedy and drama. It very clearly has some family rebuilding vibe to it that I stands to be quite dramatic. But the whole escapade of getting into that story and getting the two of them on the cruise, and I think it's stands also to be quite funny. I don't know. Seeing Seth Rogen in it makes me nervous. He has a very small part in the trailer, and yet he's the one who gets the thumbnail on YouTube, which is, I think, an interesting twist. Is he weirdly the biggest name in this movie? I don't know. I kind of thought that would be Bell, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, hopefully this is one of those funny movies with a lot of heart. I guess we'll see. How did it hit you?
Kristen Bell, I love her. I think that she's just hilarious. She's a great actress. Seth Rogen's never one of my favorites, so I saw his name as the first name in the list for the trailer, and I was like, I don't know how excited I am about this. Mm-hmm. But then I watched it. I realized it's really this Kristen Bell, Kelsey Grammer film, and I was like, oh, okay, so maybe I am more interested in this father-daughter relationship story. I'm totally down for that. I love the two of them together. Like, they seemed to have some really great chemistry throughout this trailer, which got me pretty excited. And you're right, Rogen is a really small part, and I'm hoping he stays that way. It's something that just struck a chord with me. It's something about kind of that father-daughter relationship that does draw me in. And just seeing the two of them in this, I'm very interested in this one now.
This comes from director Lauren Miller Rogen, so that may explain why Seth is in the movie and gets the big thumbnail. She hasn't directed a lot. This is her first feature. She has written more, and she, I think the last feature she wrote and starred in was For a Good Time Call, which I was not. I don't actually remember. I think I saw it, but I don't actually remember it. Otherwise, she's behind I guess she wrote Girls, Girls, Girls. The only other film I think she's written, other films she's written are shorts. So this is her first feature with some really big names, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think mostly she's been an actress.
Actress,
right?
Yeah, actress first as Lauren Miller. I can't seem to find when they got married.
2011.
2011. So, anyhow. I think it's a movie that has the potential to check all the boxes for me. So, we'll see.
Yeah.
We did for family movie night this week. We watched Father of the Bride, which is the same kind of vibe for me. We watched it it's a hard watch right now.
Is it now?
Yeah, it's a much harder watch than I'm
assuming you watched the
expected.
the new one, not the original.
Yeah, not the original. No, we watched the new one. So, anyhow, looking forward to it. When did I say when it comes out, Andy? Did I
don't
say
think
that?
You did.
I don't think I did, and that's because I closed the tab. And so I don't have it, but I'm going to give it to you if you hang tight.
I'm waiting.
By.
Bated
It's coming
breath over
August 3rd in the United States, August 3rd in the U.S., and that is the only release date for this thing so far. And so that, I don't know if that bodes well. Hopefully it'll hit streaming right away in your local area.
Excellent.
Right. The list, Andy.
The list.
What a massive pain in the rear this was.
Right? Yeah, I think we got to figure out a way to pick lists that are easier for us to do. Although I guess that's part of the challenge. But for Ocean's 13, which is the movie we're talking about this week, we gave our Patreon supporters 3 options: tunnel digging, criminal families, or unions and revolts. Of course, our wonderful Patreon supporters went with criminal families, which sounded easy on the surface.
God.
It's really hard to search for. It all ends up mob films. That was my challenge.
It is, and apparently there are only 3 movies in this category, and they are the Godfather movies. Everything else is true crime. So yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Well, you had the initial trailer pick with the Ethan Hawke rule. That means that carries over, as we are wont to do, to the trailer or to the list rule. So you should go first.
Well, okay. My first choice here is a great Australian film from 2010 that David Michôd directed called Animal Kingdom. I didn't see it when it came out in theaters, but subsequently I rented it because I heard that it had some great performances, which it does. It is a fantastic story inspired by the events involving a crime family in Melbourne, the Pettingill family. They were acquitted in a shooting murder of some police officers. But the film really it's about this family, and it's a family of criminals, and the mother is kind of like this nurturing mother to all these criminals, and it's crazy seeing how she really handles everything. Jackie Weaver is brilliant as the mother in this family. You have Ben Mendelsohn as the older son. You have Sullivan Stapleton and Luke Ford as other sons in this family. And then the cast also has Guy Pearce in it, who's always great, and Joel Edgerton. It's a really strong film. This family is really interesting to watch on screen, and so much so that it actually has inspired a TV show now, which I haven't checked out, but I hear it's quite good. And it also has just a really tremendous cast. But this is the film that really kind of gave, at least us in the States, Jackie Weaver. And I think that she's just a brilliant actress to watch. And this is just a really interesting crime family to check out on screen. So that's my first pick.
Well, I think it's a great pick, mostly because it connects to Ellen Barkin.
Oh yes,
right, because she is actually. I'm glad you picked it. It's technically not a steal, though. It was on my list. I haven't seen the movie, but when we started Ocean's 13, I ran into the Ellen Barkin connection and watched the first 2 episodes of this TV show, which it is quite good. And
I hear Ellen Barkin is great as Smurf, right?
She's
is she
amazing.
Smurf or she?
She is I
can't remember if she's the mother or the grand
she's
Smurf, right? She plays Jackie Weaver's character.
Janine Cody, right?
Yeah.
And they're just, it's amazing. It's a crazy show, and I'm so glad it got picked up as a TV show, because it's one of those that I think is going to feel really good as you expand, their nutso story, in longer form. So great pick.
All right, what's your first one?
Well, I gotta get one mob movie out of the way. Can I?
Go for it.
Just one, and I'm gonna go with Goodfellas. Henry and Karen Hill, they kind of count.
They kind of count,
yeah. It's a couple, and that's, I think, we'll find the tone of most of my picks. They're generally couples. This is I think Goodfellas is a fantastic movie, and it is a great story, and as long as it's not The Godfather, I think it counts. And who hasn't seen old De Niro and Liotta? And this is the movie that established Ray Liotta as an internet meme. So how can you go wrong with that? Thanks to Martin Scorsese and another Nicholas Pileggi book. So
brilliant film, and this is one I'm still surprised we haven't found a way to get on our show.
I know, I'm really surprised by that. So we should do that.
Absolutely.
What's your next pick?
All right, so for my next choice, I ended up going a direction that I think will be the trend for the rest of my list, because they were ones that I could remember, as opposed to searching for them. So Wes Craven did this film back in 1972 called The Last House on the Left. It was a very rough film to watch, because it just felt so real, and it just was a really hard film to watch. There was a remake of this in 2009 that Dennis Iliadis directed, and I kind of ended up liking it more than the original, which I was surprised by. But I think what largely it was, for those who aren't familiar with it, it's basically the story of a family whose daughter and her friend get killed by some people passing through, a bunch of like criminals. And then there's like a huge storm, and these people passing through, these criminals, go to the house of the parents and say, "Hey, our car broke down. Can we crash for the night?" Without realizing that they're related. And then the parents realize that these people killed their child, and basically turn on them and do what they can to kill these criminals. It's an interesting story. It's a horrific story. But in the remake, there's actually, in both cases, some of the criminals are father-son. But in the remake, I found the connection really kind of frightening and powerful between the father, played by Garrett Dillahunt, who was just so creepy in this film, and his son, Justin, played by Spencer Treat Clark. Just that relationship in this remake ended up just feeling really strong to me. And as horrific as the story is, it was a pretty interesting watch. So that's my next criminal family, the 2009 remake, The Last House on the Left.
Well, that sounds like a movie I don't want to watch.
You probably don't. It's a tough one.
Wow, what a horrible pick. How do you compare this one to something like Silence of the Lambs?
Well,
do they not even compare?
It's a totally different type of film. This is just a straight up horror. Yeah, it's like you're in a house locked with killers. What do you do to stop them? And as a parent, like, these people killed your daughter. What are you going to do to them?
Yeah, no, I don't care for it.
It gets dark.
Okay,
not as dark as the original.
Noted.
The original, it feels like you're watching a documentary, and it's like I felt sick watching the original. So yeah, that's
okay. All right. My next pick, I can't remember if I picked this one before. I don't think I have. I think it was a trailer pick a long time ago. We haven't talked about it on the show, and it easily clears the 6-star rule on IMDb. It's a movie I don't think enough people saw. It is Lawless, 2012's Lawless, from director John Hillcoat. Did you ever see this one?
I'm one of those people who didn't see it.
Oh, Andy. It tells the story of this trio of bootleggers in Depression-era Virginia, and they are threatened by the new lawman, who is, other and according to the IMDb description, other authorities angling for a cut of their profits. I have heard somebody, I said I was watching this movie, and it was like last year, and they said, oh, isn't that like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, but with, bootlegging booze? It's not like that at all. It is goes through, sections of, shocking violence. Tom Hardy is great. You expect Tom Hardy to be that way, but Shia LaBeouf, he's got some real action. Shia LaBeouf and Guy Pearce. It's a great trio in this movie, and I really, really enjoyed it. Totally worth seeing, and they are brothers. So look, bootlegging brothers. That's a crime family. I'll take it.
There you go.
Go see this movie. The Bondurant family. That's what it is. The Bondurants. That's their name. I'd forgotten their name.
Well, for my last pick, I'm torn because there's a great noir that I want to throw on the list, but I'm going to just stick with my original intention and stay with my horror direction that I went with the last one. There's nothing creepier than an old man who wants to suck your bloody finger for feeding time. God. It is the horrifying 1974 film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, directed by Tobe Hooper. A group of idiot young children are hanging out.
You're so stupid.
And they end up finding this house, and they're like, oh, what's going on here? And they go inside, and of course, you meet Leatherface, and he instantly starts killing them. And then, of course, the girl gets caught and ends up in this horrifying situation where she's with this family of very crazy people who are kind of ready to eat her, basically. They have her tied up. Leatherface is dressed as Mom. Grandpa is the one drinking the blood from her finger. And then you have the other crazy brother. And it's a really freaky family. And I know that they spawned sequels and remakes, but I haven't seen any of the sequels. I haven't heard that any are good. So I've kind of skipped them, and the remake wasn't that great. So I would just stick with the original, which is all the horror you need. It is pretty freaky, and it's a terrifying family of criminals. There you go.
Well, here's another terrible pick, Andy. You're just full
I know. You're like, why didn't he go with the noir choice?
Right. I am going to redeem you, Andy. I am going to go with a pick that I don't know why no one has learned. If there's an opportunity for me to put this movie on my list in number one, I'm going to do it. And that is the all too harrowing tale of Darwin and Minerva Mayflower. That's right. Go watch Hudson Hawk again, everybody, because it's amazing. Yeah. Crime family. You win. I win.
Oh dear.
I win the list. That's it. It's legit. I'm not even joking. I'm going to go watch Hudson Hawk today, right after I see Jurassic World.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, I had a couple of other movies on my list. But I didn't use them because I think they have all already been picked on this list, and they aren't Hudson Hawk. One was Legend, which was the story of Ronnie and Reggie Cray, and I really liked that one because it was also a Tom Hardy movie. And the other one was it was Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, but not everyone in the family that is born is criminal because they're infants. So
yes, right.
But I thought that's got to count. And that's a little tiny level.
It's a stretch. Well, my noir was Gun Crazy, which is a husband and wife that go out, and then I also had Bound on my list. Now, technically, the husband's the criminal, but
Yes.
the wife decides to become a criminal and steal all of his money. So I was like, I guess you could count. It's just there's, she's stealing from him.
Yeah, no, I just because it's infighting doesn't mean it's in crime. Doesn't mean it doesn't count. It's a family and there's crime.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, we're doing Ocean's 8 this week, so we'll get the list up, soonish.
Yeah, we'll put something out on Discord for all of our Patreon supporters so they can vote and pick this coming week's thing. It should be fun.
It should be fun. Our schedule is getting a little bit wonky because we're doing some pre-recording for our July break. I think we're still technically on schedule right now.
Yep.
So we should be good, but we're gearing up to take a couple of weeks off during July of the Saturday matinee. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for supporting us on patreon.com/the next reel. We sure appreciate it. And until next week, we'll be back. Thanks, Andy.
See ya.